Like almost every other nation in the world, Irish people have always been fans of football. We have always stood behind and supported the national team. When it comes to club support, however, the majority of Irish people turn their backs on their domestic clubs and follow teams like Manchester United and Celtic obsessively. For a sports-mad, patriotic country, this is a strange phenomenon. We have become indifferent toward the domestic league. What is causing this turnaround in support?
It's one of those, there is no kind of just X, Y, Z answer to it. There's a lot of kind of shades of grey to it. I think for me, primarily the answer is it's a mixture of kind of cultural and societal issues that happened, 50 years ago, the League of Ireland was king, the late 40s, early 50s. It was what we all wanted to support because it was local heroes, it was what we knew of, it was of the area. And then as a result, kind of over time, society changed. The world became a smaller place. We had TV, then suddenly we started becoming aware of the likes of Man United and Liverpool's and Chelsea's even. And as a result then, of course, I think when you saw that in comparison to the League of Ireland, suddenly your local heroes weren't your heroes anymore. Suddenly you could watch Man United and the Busby Babes and you could see them winning the European Cup. There's no way you can compete with that. Like, it's an international brand or an international club.
Over here, it's just, for whatever reason, it's just completely acceptable that, you say you're a Man United fan, you say you're a Liverpool fan, and it's just, I don't know, I can't get my head around it sometimes, that people, like, if someone asks you who do you follow and you say Shelbourne, and they say who do you really follow, I should be saying that to you, if you say you're a Man United fan. But how can you really follow Man United being from Dublin? How can you have that kind of connection?
You have people who will criticise the club, they'll criticise the players, but if you ask them when they were at the last match, they wouldn't know when they were at a match. They wouldn't hardly know where the pitch is, but they know all about Manchester United and Liverpool. And I think it's important that you look after your own club first.
I remember being at Bohemians pre-season friendly against Spurs. I didn't even know there were so many Spurs supporters in the country, but they turned up in thousands. We beat Spurs 3-1 on that night, and it was a pre-season friendly. It's not the real thing, but it was a decent effort. Do you think any of them stayed on to watch? God, said to themselves, my goodness, I didn't think there was that good a standard of football here. No, they continued to support Spurs at a remote distance, and they'd come from all over the country to go and see Spurs. Spurs.
The Barstoolers are just, they're the fickle fan who will look at it from a distance and who are the expert on everything, They're probably the kind who would never go to a live game of any kind, no matter what. However, as much as we like to disparage them, they are probably the majority, that make up the majority. And while you don't necessarily want all the Barstoolers suddenly becoming League of Ireland fans overnight, if you can suddenly get them to start watching it on TV and start talking about it, not necessarily going to the games, but if you can get them to start talking about it and getting an interest in it, you will go some way down the line to kind of improving the overall perception of things.
The FAI have made inroads into tackling this problem and have recently launched the Club Promotions Officer Programme. The programme aims to promote a community awareness around clubs in their localities. This involves a real connection at grassroots level. This year, the FAI has marketed the league as Real Football for Real Fans, a clever play on words that plays on people's sense of patriotism.
Real football for real fans. It plays on the notions of kind of authenticity, right? That the fans that support the teams here are real, authentic, and as you say, you mentioned patriotism yourself. Somehow are real Irish football supporters, as opposed to the at times in the past we call plastic patties that support football across the water.
I like the way that the League of Ireland is being marketed through the advertising campaigns that we've had in recent seasons, and I note it's just started again this season, featuring fans as kind of, I'm a carpenter, father of 3, and I'm a ex-supporter, whatever the club happens to be. And I hope they can do, more of that to kind of normalise supporting League of Ireland football.
The CPOs at the minute, their job is to work with 30 schools, 30 clubs, local schoolboy clubs, because there's a huge disconnect between the senior game, the junior game and the schoolboy game. You got to remember that soccer is Ireland's biggest sport. 450,000 people play soccer at the weekends. And that's not our figures, that's the government figures, the SRI figures. So if we get 10% of the 450,000 people that play soccer in Ireland to go to League of Ireland games at the weekend, we're way ahead of where we are today. Real engagement is the key to where we're going. It's about going into a school and getting a child who hasn't formed values or beliefs yet, and showing them a history of your club, that it is their club, it's their local club, and they can input into that club. And instead of possibly watching Manchester United or Liverpool, that if they go to their local Cork City match and they follow the club and help the club as a volunteer, just a spectator and a fan, they could actually help Cork City to play against the Manchester United or Liverpools.
People see what the FAI doing on the local groundwork, you know, they might say that, you know, football is readily growing and improving in the country. So hopefully that they will see young talent and coming through the ranks and go and see them in for the other clubs, League of Ireland clubs. You know, just stop watching TV and go and attend the games really. But as far as I know, that the attendance have been improving, and that's the only way to go. Is just keep advertising and just keep kids interested in games. So with what we're doing, getting kids in the game, I'm just promoting local football through our work. Kids end up going to the games.
It has been effective, but the problem with a lot of the stuff that we do, you're not going to see the results for a long number of years. So as I say, we certainly have increased the number of young people coming to the games, of young boys, young girls with their mothers, their fathers. But you know, when they become into their teenage years, like, you know, it's a different then. And I feel like, you know, that often with CPOs, we might feel that we're banging our head against the wall. You know, we look at the gates and they've risen slightly or they've dropped slightly, and we're wondering what could we have done.
It's quite rare you'll get that where someone seeks out a local club and goes to follow them, but they are there, and they're there in numbers at fairs at the weekends. You go to Turner's Cross, the Brandywell, there's people who actively go after their clubs. But we have to go out and engage with the population and educate them in a way that's very different to how we've done it to date. We have to position the league that it's Irish.
If we keep doing what we're doing, you know, we will get the rewards. Although a lot of us will be gone by that stage, but the club will get the rewards.
The FAI have made a certain degree of progress in increasing crowd numbers at League of Ireland games. Yet there will always be those hardcore fans that travel to home and away games week in, week out. Two such fans are Dean Fortune and Johnny Lynch. These young Drogheda United fans felt so much for their club that they strove to do everything within their power to ensure that the Drogs would survive its recent examinership process.
We went down to the market and we were all our games and our books and our toys and all that, and then we just felt we were putting all our hearts into Drogheda United and trying to raise money for them, and then we found out we were in the newspaper, and then we just started doing it every week. When we found out we were saved, then we just felt like that we played our part in saving Drogheda United. And
Dean and Johnny are a new generation of Drogheda United fans who keep on the tradition and love for the club shown by other hardcore supporters in the past, notably Johnny Hughes, who sadly passed away during the recent examinership process.
When he died, like, he knew he had been unwell, and that he had mentioned to his family that if anything should happen, that he didn't want flowers at his funeral, he just wanted money and donations to Drogheda United.
His nickname was Johnny the Bull Hughes, and he was called that because he was like a big man, and like he didn't take none from anyone, and he made friends with every fan from every game, even the Bows and Dundalk, which are our worst rivals, and he made friends with them.
When you met Johnny, you didn't know whether he was going to criticise or whether he was going to praise you, but he certainly was part and parcel of the furniture of the club here, like, you know.
There's a fella called Cabbage, and he got that flag done from, so we bring it to every game, all the home games. It's over the sitting stand where the flag goes, and he goes to every game, so then we're not without him, so then at least we know he's going to every game.
The support that the likes of Johnny Hughes, Johnny Lynch and Dean Fortune showed to their club was echoed amongst the townspeople of Drogheda, who dug deep and gave what they could to help save the Drogs through its financial struggle.
If you go back to the examinership process, it was a very, very difficult time. Like, I mean, and just to get through the day was an achievement. But when people rallied and came in and every few minutes the door would knock, young children would come in and put €2 or €3 on the tables. Other people come in and put thousands. And I think that's what kept us going, and even in walking around Drogheda during those days, it was amazing how people really, really wanted this club to survive. So.
I mean, what Drogheda was able to do is get themselves out of trouble is remarkable. Shamrock Rovers, similarly, Cork City in the previous era and so on. But you can't do that trick too often. You can't keep going back to the hardcore members and saying, we need another loan from you, or we need another, exceptional effort from you. People will get tired doing that.
Aside from supporting their club week in, week out, many League of Ireland fans have taken an extra step in their support for their club. Development trusts like the SSDG at Shelbourne and Fortis at Cork City help look after the day-to-day running of the club, as well as helping the club in times of financial need.
If you were here about 12:30 today, you would have seen me on a machine cutting the pitch. We look after cutting the pitches. We look after the bar inside, which is probably seen a small bar, and we have where we serve teas, coffees, drink. We look after having the lads, when the lads come down to train and everything is ready for them. Showers are on, the dressing rooms have to be clean, so we're all involved in that, and it helps out the whole club in general.
I'd love to see how that clubs are all owned by their fans. I think that's the best way to go, and we're lucky at Chelsea that we have a board that really have shown themselves to be true fans, that they didn't just pick up and leave when the club got relegated and when we had all our financial problems, as what happened down in Cork City when Arcaga dropped out.
What we had to do then last September, when it all fell apart here, was that we just had to really, really push on getting people in. And of course the crisis is always the thing that galvanises people more than anything else. And for the first couple of months, or first couple of weeks, I think in fact in about 48 hours, we'd raised something like 15,000.
I think a group like SSDG are invaluable in their sort of support underneath the board, a support group to keep the club going and to do all these little jobs that would take the board, would kind of, the board's attention needs to be on more important things. And the SSDG can do other things. They can do cleanups, or they have quizzes and stuff, just all sorts of fundraising. They sponsor players, they sponsor matches. I mean, it's a testament to how passionate the supporters of League of Ireland clubs are.
Three main reasons are given is to provide money and to help the club in any way we can, to take over responsibility for various functions within the club. And the other point was that to become part of Shelbourne Football Club by acquiring shares.
We really felt was that we could galvanise the support of the club, and then last year in examinership it really came together, because when we got to the High Court at the end to try to I suppose state our case, and when the examiner was working on our behalf, it wasn't only the fact that we had a local investor willing to come in and take the club over, but it was also the fact that the judge felt that it would be detrimental to the community to let the club go. And he actually said in one of his summing up that there was the trust in Cork, and that one of the members had written a letter in saying how important it was to the community, to the people around, and he said that really helped him make his decision.
I think long term, for sustainability, for revenue generating, it's never going to be a long term model. It's a good thing short term to help get fans to pay for bills that are owing, or to get fans involved and to help save the club. But I do think, if you're talking long term, you do need a sustainable model. But part of the problem is then there's never been a proven revenue generating model that will sustain a full-time professional club in this country.
There is a passion that League of Ireland fans show for their club, a passion that finds no parallel in the so-called passion and support seen in pubs around the country by the likes of Manchester United and Celtic supporters. The League of Ireland fans have the upper hand here. It's their club from their town. Between fan and club, there is a local affinity and love, something that is unattainable to most Irish barstoolers.
The match is not just about the 11, if we're talking about football, the 11 guys or girls on the field playing against each other, that it becomes much more than that, right? That the teams are the representatives of their community.
We're the pride of County, we're the pride of,
and that a win or a loss is not just a sporting win or a loss, it's actually somehow seen to reflect on the community as a whole. So, as we were talking about, if Drogheda beat Dundalk in a League of Ireland football match, it's not just that the Drogheda Football Club has got one over on Dundalk, but actually it said something more about Drogheda being a better town than Dundalk, you know, for the duration of the time until they play again. So certainly, you know, the teams are often held up as symbols of the community from which they're from.
Get two lads, and we get an equaliser here. All these clothes are coming off me. I am gone. It'll take the draw the fire brigade to pull me back. I am gone. It's highly fucking unlikely, but if it does.
League of Ireland fans, because they can be so passionate and so dedicated, it can nearly put people off sometimes because they're kind of going, oh, listen, you know, I don't want to be going down that road. I just want to be generally interested, you know. So I think while passion can be good and dedication can be good at one side, on the other, sometimes it might put people off.
As with every person on the planet, each fan of the League of Ireland is unique. Each of them will take something different away from supporting their local team. Why do these fans support League of Ireland teams over the success across the water? What are they getting from it when the best football in the world is just a bar stool away?
People to ask are the fans themselves, but in terms of a sense of camaraderie, a sense of belonging to something that sort of transcends both yourself as an individual and your immediate friends and family, to be part of something that's bigger, that you can kind of share the ups and downs with other people, you have similar interests to them. So I think probably that sense of belonging, that sense of identity, that fun, you know, the enjoyment, the passion that you get from it.
For me, yeah, being a fan is just being passionate and finding an outlet for that passion and being able to watch it, whether it's on the box or in person.
It does mean identification with something that's meaningful, either in terms of family or in terms of tradition or in terms of values or in terms of community or in terms of locality. I think that League of Ireland supporters are football supporters. I think they're sports supporters probably first.
I think it means a badge of honour. I think it means standing out from the crowd and being different. I think it means swimming against the tide.
You don't see it? Look at it, it's fantastic. Do you not smell it?
Oh, frustration.
I feel very privileged to be a Cork City supporter, to be a League of Ireland supporter.
Pain. Once you get hooked into it, it's impossible. It's impossible to let go.
It's probably our main interest. We are football people.
Roddy gave all our passion with Roddy United, you know.
It's not something that I can sort of qualify because it's almost, I feel like it's almost in my blood.
A little bit of anger.
I'm a Shelbourne supporter. It's a part of me, it's a part of who I am. I take it everywhere with me.
I'm great excited.
We eat, sleep and breathe Roddy United.
And it's our main talking point from when we meet on the street. We don't talk about who's in the music chart and Bob Dylan is great. We talk about it alone.
I'm a huge football fan, so I would watch any game that's on. I would go to any game that's on if I'm available. And I'm a huge fan. It means a lot to me. It really does.
I miss them so much when they're away, and pre-season is terrible. I'd love if they play 12 months out of the year.
We're hugging strangers and, you know, just lifting children up into the air. It's just, I don't know.
I certainly will always feel that Drogheda United is part of me and that I'm part of Drogheda United.